Hey, how you doing, folks? This is Lauren, the Nerdy Entrepreneur, back. I know it's been a long time for some videos, and technically, I do have a bunch of videos recorded. I just got to upload them onto this channel. That's about the only thing I got to do is upload them on this channel. So I got a few that I actually have to do. So you'll probably see a bunch of videos being uploaded. But this is a special video because someone actually commented on a video I did. The first one I did talking about day one, my remote cleaning business, starting the journey to build for more income stream. So this person's name is Lulu Bayou, and they asked the question of, do you have any tips for someone just starting a cleaning business? Uh, yes, I do have some tips for anybody out there who wants to start a cleaning business. Um, I'm trying to hopefully, I don't know where you are in your journey. You might have already started the process of getting your paperwork together, or you're hiring or what have you. So I'm going to pretend that you haven't started the journey at all. And if you have, forgive me. I just don't know where you're at. You didn't give me any context to work with. So I'll just start from there. So if you're thinking about having a cleaning business, you need to, one, know your reason why. Why? Is it because you need, more money because you're not making as much? Is it because you don't want to be in a job that you're in? Is it because, like for me, one of the major reasons why I'm going through all this extra frustration, all this extra stuff I have to do because I already run another business. I'm already a business owner and I run a couple of different businesses and I'm in partnerships and I already have a lot on my plate. So this is just an extra thing to do. But the reason I am doing it is because I would like in about 3 years' time to be able to gift my grandnephew um, a college education that doesn't require him to take out a student loan or a very small one if he ever has to take one out, if he decides to go to college, or to help pay for trade school if he decides he wants to, be an electrician or plumber or something like that, right? And I wanted to be able to do that because I think that's a real flex. I think that's really cool. That really makes a difference in someone's life if they can get that type of education that would allow them to do whatever it is they're planning on doing without having the burden of student loans, because I have student loans. I've had to go through a whole lot and I knew what it was like to miss school because you couldn't get a loan and you didn't make enough money to pay for it and go through all that. And it was very frustrating for me. And I have the power to potentially to prevent that from happening to a family member that I love. So that's my big reason why. So I would say have a good reason why, because you will go through bumps and bruises. You will have things on the road that will not work out. I go through it all the time, but that's just part of the game and being able to endure. So one, have a really big reason why, because sometimes you'll meet that goal and then it's like people plateau. And what I've noticed is when people plateau, their business eventually starts to go downhill and they don't prepare for the bumps in the road that come with, economy affecting your business, right? And they just don't prepare for it because, oh, I'm at this plateau and that's all I want. So have a bigger reason why, because you will need it to keep you encouraged, to keep you going. And also, you want to give you some time, because if things start going super well, you might get there a lot faster if the goal is really not that big. If your goal is just, hey, I just want to bring in 48,000 for myself a year, next thing you know, you hit that point and then people's like, oh, well, I don't want to do anything else. And they don't do anything to maintain their business. And that goes for any business you start. So just have a bigger reason why. There's people I know who started cleaning businesses that are having issues because they don't really have a bigger reason why, and stuff is happening and they don't know how to navigate it and they're getting depressed. And so, I don't know if you've ever started a business before. I'm a seasoned entrepreneur, so I'm, there are bumps and bruises I'm used to getting, but there's some great triumphs that I've had, and that could be the same for you. So have a bigger reason why for doing this, especially if this is on the side, because there will be some bumps and bruises and things you have to attempt to navigate along the way. And hopefully you have support from friends and family on your decision to become an entrepreneur, to have a cleaning business in the first place. Some people don't have that type of support. Sometimes you might have a spouse or someone else who you trust, and they are very discouraging. And instead of encouraging you, they discourage you. You know, they make side comments about what you're doing, about how you're silly. And I tell you this, guy in one of the groups that I frequent, he was not getting a lot of support outside of, you know, our group, because we're a bunch of, you know, business owners in there. And his first time entrepreneur, and he was doing okay, you know, not bad. And you know, he was getting a whole lot of guff um, from a couple of family members that he was close to about what he was doing. And it got to the point where he was talking about he was feeling very discouraged. Meanwhile, business wise, he wasn't doing bad. He wasn't really running red. He broke even and started making some profit. And he was actually on a really good trajectory until, you know, he had a month where he was doing really well. And this thing, you know, besides the stuff that goes on in that business, you know, working out, and his, you know, some these certain family members he had, you know, they were always just making fun of him. It wasn't like, oh, good, funny, haha. It was like, you know, in my opinion, I thought they were a bit jealous or afraid that, hey, if this thing doesn't work out, you know, he just wasted his time. And this man was doing this on, he was doing this business on a part-time basis, building it up. And he had this very toxic family members saying all kinds of guff to him, right? That's not encouraging. You know, being an entrepreneur is difficult. It's a lot of mental bandwidth. It's a lot of physical bandwidth, depending on how you decide to do this. And the last thing you need is a jackass cousin coming in and saying how your shit going to fail in 6 months. Like, who the hell needs that, right? And that's the kind of stuff they were actually saying to him, like, oh man, screw that shit, you know, you know. Um, and these are people he had a close relationship with, and you know, it was just not a good situation for him. And you know, all we could tell him is like, you know, you either ignore them, or maybe you're going to have to really have a serious talk about what they're saying to you, and someone has to make a choice. So you know, you might encounter that. Hopefully you won't encounter that sort of thing, but you know, guaranteed, depending on your circle, you'd be surprised. Some people will be jealous, especially if your business starts to make money. You got people who won't believe in the beginning, and they see you making money, then they start being encouraging. You got people who are encouraging all the way, and then you got people that as soon as you hit a snag, as soon as stuff doesn't work out, you know, it's like, oh, I told you so, and all kinds of crap starts to happen. And that's just not, it's just not cool, but it does happen. So uh, have the mental bandwidth to deal with that. Find something that relaxes you and people who encourage you and people who have wisdom. Now, here's the other thing, people who have experience in this business specifically, because there are things that are happening. Why are you trying to reinvent the wheel to figure out the solution to the problem when there are people out there who've gone through it, who you can pay for them to tell you how to navigate it, or be in groups where you pay to be in? And I say this because a lot of people want all the free information, but they don't do anything. They don't do anything with the information, right? You want tips, I could tell you stuff, but you might not do a damn thing with this information. You know, that's all you. So like for me, I hold myself accountable by making sure I'm in places where I pay to be around people who know a hell of a lot more than me. And I know more than other people on certain things. And it's worked out in many ways. So I could tell you that. I had another cleaning company actually call me and ask to borrow one of my workers. So I got paid without having to go get a gig. So it was lovely for me. It was nice to get paid by another cleaning company for a lead I didn't have to pay for. So it was great for me. And that relationship would have never have happened had I not been around those group of people in the first place. So you know, things like that do work out. So I encourage you to find a group, particularly those who might be in a similar business or in the same business as you, because you can learn a lot about things people are doing right and things that sometimes people are doing wrong. When it comes to free groups, however, there's a lot of mess. I'm in a free group where there are cleaning companies and they're running their business horribly. Just from a straight, like I'm more of a finance person at at best, and the stuff people are doing, not good, right? Not good. So that's the problem with free groups, right? Those type of people, they're business owners that their business teeters like this all the time, and they don't want to pay for help. So they go in free groups and they bitch about their problems. And it's more like, you just needed to pay for help, my man. Like, this ain't, your margins suck, and you need professional help. You need to go find you a good CPA and have that conversation. So I'd always say your tip is be willing to pay for help. You will need it. We all do it. We all pay for it. Okay, I pay for help myself. So be willing to pay for help. It will save you a lot of disaster. It will save you a lot of mistakes. It'll help you make more money. I paid for help and made more money in this business in particular. So be willing to pay for help is a tip I would give you. Another tip is decide what type of cleaning business you're doing. There are people who built cleaning businesses that are specifically for Airbnb and vacation rentals. As much money as those people are making right now, a lot of their money is kind of going a little bit south, depending on where they are. Why? Because if you're going to do vacation rentals, but specifically Airbnb, right? Remember, there's time frames. You really have to be aware of the vacation schedules. Like, for a lot of people, Airbnbs are going down because it's not vacation time anymore. So the rentals they're getting is people maybe coming in for a conference and such like that. Otherwise, like, I know one guy, he was getting like 18 cleans a week for his company. That thing went down to 5 because it's no longer vacation time. So he's kind of scrambling right now. I know people who have vacation rental, Airbnb cleaning companies that are pivoting to doing commercial or residential right now because they lost a lot of their revenue because it ain't vacation time no more, right? And that is the truth. That is what's happening. So if you know where you're going to have your cleaning company, watch out for factors like that. Like, if you build your business straight on Airbnb cleans, I think that's dangerous as hell. If you're especially if your company is not going to be in a vacation spot, in a vacation spot that doesn't have vacations, um, it's not a vacation spot all year round. Like, if it's a place that's only a winter place and there's summer where you are, there's a problem. Especially also, yes, people do go on vacations when the economy falls, but that also affects vacations in terms of frequency. So, you got to make that choice if you haven't already. Just watch out and do that research for those factors. Like, I believe I like stability. So, as attractive as having the Airbnbs is to me, it's just a different side of considerations you need for that business, as well as the ups and downs of, that sort of thing. So understand the type of cleaning business you're going to, if it's going to focus on vacation rentals or Airbnb specific, or is it going to be commercial, or is it going to be residential, or a mix of all three, or two, or none, right? And also check your insurance. You will need insurance. My tip is you should have your own insurance for your company. That's a given. In fact, on certain ad platforms, you cannot advertise without having insurance. So you're going to need a minimum of $1 million in insurance requirement for most ad platforms that require that insurance documentation. I have more than that on my company currently, and as we make more money, I will buy more insurance coverage for my company. So that's a cost you're going to have to take anyway. Don't skip out on that. That's just stupid. Things happen. Like, we've had to pay for damaged property before. So it happens, man. So just be aware of that. So that's a tip there. That's part of a requirement. And also know if you're running this business remotely. Like, I am not in the cities in which my business is based right now. So I'm running it remotely. There's pros and cons to that. If something goes wrong, I can't drive myself. I can't go out and do quotes to how long a clean is going to take because I'm working remotely with this business. So maybe that's a consideration. Maybe you want to do it in a town or city that you're in because you want to be able to do that and have that hands-on experience. Now, that's great. The downside to doing that, really, okay, so the the downside of doing that is that people who are in proximity, you forget that you are supposed to take yourself out of the business. When you're in proximity to a situation like this that's supposed to be remote, if that's what you're trying to do, people tend not to know how to let go. Like me, I have no problem eventually making enough money in which I can hire other people to replace me. And that's really what I'm doing, you know, pushing hard myself, getting enough money, and then instead of paying myself, paying somebody else to take over for me so I can get my time back, and to keep doing that, because eventually I will have enough revenue in which I can slice myself my money, pay everybody their money, and go on about that, because I don't want to be working in my business. Now I'm doing a lot of working in my business because this is the beginning of this business. But my goal is to be out of certain things administratively. And so that is something I'm putting a lot of emphasis on um, for this particular thing. So you want to make sure you understand, because there's a lot of successful cleaning businesses out there. And guess what? Them people are working 80 hours a week. The owner is in the business working 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. Now, if you have nothing else going on, if you're not like me where I have multiple businesses, that might be great for you. You know, that's maybe what you want to do, because other than that, you have nothing else to do for the day. You have no other obligations for the day. You don't have kids that you are, working out for. You don't have anything else you're doing. So yeah, this is your job, and great. If that's what it is, organize it like that, but make sure you put in your time for vacation and you time. But if that's not what you're trying to do, then you're going to have to let go of things. So you're going to have to document what you're doing, figuring out what works and doesn't work, and documenting it out, because someone has to be able to come behind you and follow it. Right? That's number one. Number two, make sure you got your booking software on point, because you're going to need it to turn it over to your bookkeeper or your CPA. They're going to need those things. So, if you're the only one who knows how to do something, there's no documentation of things, you're kind of scrambling, you're looking at a business that's going to be in turmoil. So you don't want that. So tip wise, make sure that you've made those decisions and you start putting those things together as you're moving forward with creating a business. Invest in your software that you need to run your business. Okay. Um, you're going to have to do that. The software for this industry varies in functionality, the goods and the bads to it. But you're going to have to invest. There are people who are like, oh, I don't want to invest $200, $300 a month on software, on one piece of software. But I'm like, does it do what I need to do? Does it have the connections I need to be successful and other things? 'Cause I'm a marketer, so I have other things I want my software to do. Is it usable for the people that I hire to do the jobs? Does it make it easy for me to collect payments and what have you? And so I look for a really good CRM software that allows me to do that. And there's plenty of them out there. Pros and cons, some of them are much more expensive than they need to be because they're general pieces of software. They're not industry specific. And then there's industry specific software that you can use as well. And also, I'm not a person who's married to any particular software. I will use whatever allows me to do the things that I particularly look to do. And I have very specific criteria for me, because I build automations and sales automations and lead generation things in other people's businesses, including my own. And if I can't do it in this business with that software is not good for me. So, keep that consideration open, picking good software that works for you, making sure you have your booking, your financial software together, QuickBooks, Xero, whatever you decide to use, and that things talk to each other. That's a big thing. Talk to each other. Be willing to pay for help, whether you hire people to be your mentor, whether you are part of groups. Pay for that information, because it'll keep your behind accountable, and it's a tax write-off. So make sure you do that. Get your paperwork together. Make sure you have your insurance. That is not an option. Have your insurance as well. Be prepared to get at least $1 million in insurance at that, and make the decision. Also, keep the toxicity out of your every day as much as possible as you're running your business. So if you got family members or friends who are like, oh girl, oh God, whatever, because either they're jealous, they're afraid for you, but they don't know how to express it in a way that's manageable. Like someone could be afraid from you. Maybe someone, if you know people who had a business and it failed and they love you and they don't want to see you fail, but they don't know how to communicate that to you. Like, hey, listen, I'm not trying to be a downer. It's just I did this thing, it tore up my dad's relationship or whatever the case, and I don't want that to happen to you. Great, that's a beautiful concern, but most people don't know how to express it like that. So it comes off really negative and they don't realize that they're hurting you. So be prepared to deal with that and find other things to do that are more positive space, because you will have ups and downs in this business as well. So you want to keep, those are some tips I got, make sure you have a good tech stack, your accounting software, your CRMs and stuff to book and organize your cleaners, a good headspace as well, paying for information so that keeps your behind accountable and gets your wonderful tax write-offs. Those are some of the things I say, like tips I would have for anyone starting a cleaning business. Oh, and decide whether or not you're going to do this remote or not. I don't want to work in my business. I want to be working on my business, and making in the beginning, I'm working in my business. Eventually, next few months, as I document this process, I will be working more on my business. So that means documenting processes and letting things go and hiring people to follow processes and to see if it still works or not. Because you might discover, hey, it doesn't work that way. So you have to rewrite things. So those are some tips that I have, some general tips for this specific type of business for you out there. So I hope it helps you. You don't have to listen. You can do whatever you wish. But I just want to make sure that it answered Lulu's question. Thank you for commenting on the video. If you have any other questions, you can comment. I may not always answer them, but you can comment. I might do another video like this and just talk about some of the things. Now watch on my channel because there are more videos that are coming on my channel that I have not got a chance to upload, and they will be here. So if you like these types of videos of me just kind of talking about experience, giving some tips about this, please do me a favor. Like the video, click the subscribe button, and click the little bell so that you're alerted when I upload. All right. So like the video, please. Subscribe, please. Click the little bell to be alerted when we upload a video, please. Until next time, folks, I will see you later. This is the Nerdy Entrepreneur.